All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely day. We certainly are. We're on my rooftop. As you can see, it's an amazing background. And for anyone that doesn't know, this is Liam. So I coached Liam about 3 years ago when he was a fluffy-haired, nervous wreck, and he's since become pretty fucking good. He's over the last 3 years, I've seen him progress pretty fucking well, to the point where he actually does some coaching both for me and coaching on his own. So Liam and I actually did a video about 6 months ago, which was an epic fucking 2.5 hour long rant. And we proceeded to get very drunk on that video and discuss a multitude of topics. However, I was drunk enough to fuck up the video. So that never saw the light of day. So what we're going to do today is try and, we're going to do a repeat basically, but we're going to try and condense it down to like 20 or 30 minutes because, well, one, we got clients after this, and also we don't have much space on our SD cards.
Very professional.
Super professional. And also what we're going to do is we're going to ask each other just a few questions. We don't know what we're going to ask, and being the professionals we are, we wrote them down literally about 3 minutes ago. Yeah. So we may forget them and have to revert to our phones. But what we're going to do is my video, then we're going to do for my channel, and then we're going to do one for Liam's channel right after this. So after you've watched this video, go check out his channel. There'll be a cool video on breakups, which we're both going to discuss. But for this video, we're just going to bounce a few questions off each other, maybe like 3 questions each, and try and answer as concisely and as informatively as we possibly can. So I'm going to start. Now this is something we discussed a fair bit on the last video, and that was, yeah, when I met Liam, you know, a bit nervous, whatever, and now he's always been 6'5", but he's an attractive, confident dude. And it's hard to be a coach in some respect when guys don't trust your game. They don't trust your ability to actually go out and approach, because all they see is a tall, attractive dude. And I was fortunate enough to see both sides of that, Liam, before and after, like the journey. And I can say they're two very, very different things. So I just want to get Liam's take on how he deals with that and why, you know, looks are important, but they're not to the degree that people think they are.
Yeah. Awesome. So thanks for the awesome intro, the fluffy weirdo. I love that shit. So I did used to be that fluffy weirdo dude. But about the whole looks situation. So I actually did a video about this a little bit not too long ago, like a week ago, and it's so interesting because your looks are going to help.
Oh, keep going.
Your looks are, you're so professional. It's kind of like getting a really great opportunity and not having the skills to follow it up. So if you're, I'm not gonna, you know, make it all PG rated and market this, like any guy can get any girl. Okay. But if you're a better looking person or a better looking dude, you're going to have more things happen. Like girls will approach you, especially if you dress well, then it's like a killer. If you dress well and you're good looking, you'll get girls approaching you. But I see it all the time, and you'll see it as well, where really good looking guys in bars and clubs and parties and social circles, like you've coached male models, guys who are just like, people think I might be somewhat good looking, but other men just like, you know, they're like, yeah, exactly, they're just models or actors, and girls will approach them and then proceed to walk away like a minute later because he'll say all the wrong shit. He'll be trying to game her. He won't believe in himself.
It's that cliche thing, like he was hot until he opened his mouth.
Exactly.
Which a lot of my female friends have said.
Exactly.
And in that case as well, a lot of those guys will actually, the woman will sleep with them because they're attractive, but then they won't follow it up. I've coached some guys who are really attractive before, and then they kill it initially, but they can't actually hold a girl. They can't keep a girl because they're so attractive, but they don't, so they get that initial interest, but then they don't have the, you know, follow through to keep the, you know, to follow it through basically.
Exactly. You'll get taught all the time, looks don't matter, and money doesn't matter, and age doesn't matter, where the funny thing is for some girls it does and some girls it doesn't, but it probably matters if you've been following game for like 7 months at home and shit, it probably matters more than you actually think it does, because people who are trying to sell you shit online, they're looking at you and it's thinking, what's our demographic? It's just dudes who stay at home and they've never had any success. So if you had a little bit of success, you probably wouldn't look up this stuff. But if you had no success at home, most of the time, they're going to think, doesn't have a great job, not a great social circle, probably not a good looking guy, doesn't dress well, blah, blah, blah. And so they're going to target their stuff towards you and say, no matter what you look like, no matter what you wear, no matter how much money you make, you can still get the girl, which is total fucking bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Exactly, they're gonna sell you that like winning the lottery ticket, and like no one else has this secret. Here it is. But obviously, you know, it doesn't really matter what you look like that much as you present yourself. So wear clothes that fit. Have good. You'd be so fucking surprised.
You would.
Please don't. If you ever get coached by us, please don't wear runners and jeans. Please don't wear that
We
shit.
have to find a store open at 9 p.m. And if you're gonna wear a blazer, wear one that fucking fits.
An example, if you want someone who has poor game and is good looking, the more accurate,
go to a bar.
just go to any bar and look for the dudes who stand with them, their friends, and they're good looking macho guys.
And a lot of the time as well, those guys have sort of been pandered to so much by society that they're where they think they stand in society versus where they actually stand are two very different things. So a lot of the time they find it really hard to approach because they've been told their whole lives, you know, you're attractive, you're cool, you're awesome, they've been popular. The hardest guys to coach, I find, are the most attractive guys. Because often that ego is involved, and it's almost like they'd rather stay in that illusion than actually deal with the reality. So
100%. All right, cool. I've got a question for you.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so why do you think, out of all the guys you've coached, out of all the guys you've met, why do you think most guys fail at this?
Oh, this fucking wind does. I'm sorry if this wind's fucking us up.
You can hear us.
Okay, I'm going to answer it in a few parts.
Yeah.
One, because I think a lot of guys think that game is the answer when they haven't looked internally at all. So they'll go out and they'll try approaching hundreds or maybe even thousands of women, but they never deal with like the hatred inside of themselves. They never deal with the anger. They never deal with whatever stuff that's going on inside them. Fuck, it's really windy.
Should be okay.
Should be okay. So they never deal with that. So what happens is every time they're approaching, they're bringing really bad, shitty energy. So they'll be out approaching and interacting with women quite a number of times. I've seen guys out there for literally years and still getting nothing, and they don't realize that they're bringing a shitty mindset and a shitty mentality. And a lot of guys get into this and they're just like, I've been doing this for 3 months now. Why isn't it working for me? And it's like, well, just listen to how you said that last thing. You know, you're so desperate for this to work. You're just trying to outrun some demon within you that it just fucking, people know, man. People, especially women, they know when you want something from them. You know, so when you're approaching going, this better work, you're my fucking 100th approach, people know that. And they won't know consciously why, but they'll subconsciously just pull away from you. So I think that's number one. I think guys don't persist for long enough. You know, they'll get in and try approaching for a week or two and why isn't this working? It's like, well, I've been doing this for well over a decade. He's been doing it for 3 years. And that's a lot. We've been out week after week within that time. So I'm not saying you have to be like us. I'm just sort of saying you have to find some kind of way that this is enjoyable. Like if you're dragging yourself to bars and
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
You got to have fun.
Otherwise
you'll fucking hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So in order to keep it short, I'll keep it with that. So
Sweet.
number 2 for Liam. I'm interested in the journey of your mindset. So what are the differences now? So looking back where you were sort of maybe 4 years ago, what are some of the stark differences in the way that you think between back then versus now? I mean, that could be in relation to game or anything really.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it's so funny you say that because what we were talking about just before when you were talking about looks and all that sort of stuff and how we're talking about, don't worry about looks, it's actually just what you say. When I very first started, I was really, some of you might know there's a dating coach called Vin DiCarlo, and he was the very first sort of...
Sorry if you're watching.
Sorry, Vin. Big fans. He just shit's really good, honestly. But your marketing is just like, this is the be-all of end-all. Like, don't even worry about it.
My friend does his marketing.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, mate. Anyway, it's great. I bought it, so it's great marketing.
Okay,
I already paid you. Yeah. So you killed that. But when I started off, I was very much, you know, I was not a sophisticated person in this field. So I would see something and I would believe it dogmatically. So it was kind of like a process. So I started off thinking, it's what you say. Like, it's so simple, like all I have to do is say the right things. And then what would happen, for the first 6 months, I just stayed at home and practiced that shit and never took any action. And I'd go out and I'd feel this huge amount of anxiety, which is so funny. What you say is, it's the inner stuff that matters, not the outer stuff. Because when the only time that I would apply what I learned, like what to say, is when I'd go out with friends and we would get totally hammered, and I would go out and like use those lines, which is kind of ridiculous because I was so drunk in the first place that who fucking knew if it worked or not. And the girls are probably drunk because I was trying it at Revs, for fuck's sake. Revs, like great, yeah.
Everyone loves you at Revs.
Oh my god.
Brain is loaded with dopamine.
Exactly.
They're high as fucking cars.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, 6 months later, I found Chris, did a course with him, and he really, when we did our 1 day session together, Chris didn't really focus much on what to say. He said, look man, like you've looked up, I remember this, he said, you've looked up stuff online, what would you say to open a go? And I said, oh, I'd say this. And he said, perfect, let's just go and do it. Because Chris would know, I mean, obviously he taught me, but Chris would know that it's more about the inner mindset. So his focus was to get me out there and just have me like boom, 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 approaching. That's the first time I ever approached a girl sober in the day. Approached like, I don't know, 8 girls, and it went really, really well. So from then on, and then my mindset was, it was just started to be fun. So it started to be really hard and really, but I never ever thought that I couldn't do it. And it was always, you know, you have to have this is really lame, but you have to have a why. I had that why, you know, why, what was your goal of doing it? And back then it was just, I want to fuck hot chicks. So it was like,
I think that's where everyone started. It's not the right thing to say.
Because what other reason do you have in there? Yeah. It's like,
that's why everyone starts.
Yeah.
And you get that and you realize, oh, this is a bit shit on its own.
Exactly. So I'll try and I'll try and wind it up now. But so I started off being what to say, then I started to enjoy it. Just, you know, I started banging girls that I would never ever believe. You know what I did? I went back and I had all these girls I loved in high school, and from what I learned and what I could do after about 1.5 years of solid practice, I went out every day for about 2.5 years, and so that's how much effort it takes. I went back and I actually started sleeping with all the girls in my high school that I couldn't get, and this was after high school. So I'd go and sleep with. I remember one time I fucked 4 girls from my high school in 2 days, and in 3 days. 2 were in the same day, and then one was the next day, and one was the next day. And it was like, and I was like, fucking, I am the king. Like, I was like, this is sick, because they were unbelievable. My friends were like, you're disgusting but amazing. Anyway, so my mindset now, you know, it kind of went from hot girls. Now it's more orientated towards, because that's very fucking time consuming. Going out every day and doing that shit is very fucking time consuming, but it is a necessary evil in the beginning, and you need to find a way to enjoy it. But now my mindset is more creating in terms of game, because that's what this is about, creating an awesome life financially, and the fun things I do, and just becoming, you know.
We talk just as much about, probably more about business,
now.
than women or game or dating or anything. You know, we usually chat every day, and it's usually about business.
Yeah,
so
I'll give you a tip right now. If you want to become friends with like a dating coach, like if you want to become friends with one of us, if you're not paying us, then we probably don't want to talk that much about game, because we've already done so many years. I mean, we do, like, there's some things that we're still interested in, but we don't want to, you know, in our spare time talk about that shit, because we teach it all the time. Well, okay, maybe I should just say for me, I don't want to like throw you on the I'll end that question there. That's just, now my mindset is more, how can I get the girls to come to me? Like, how can I create a life where I'm doing what I want, and a reaction of that, or a side effect of that more, is that the girls just come to me. Because when you start off, you're like, you don't need looks or money, blah blah blah, and then when you actually have a look at how the real fucking world works, girls, you know, as we said before, girls aren't really just like, I'm gonna fuck you because he's rich, but they're gonna be there. So if you have game and the girls are there, it's just a no fucking brainer. Like, put the money, if you have skills, put the effort into the money and the success, whatever that is for you. Just some sort of, just combine it all into one big.
What I've found is the more you actually get the other stuff, the less you actually want girls. Yeah. So when you've got nothing going on, you just want to get laid. Yeah. But then when you start developing, like, getting lots of money and you know, freedom and whatever, you like, you know, now I don't really give a shit if I'm out on a date. I don't fucking care. I'm just as happy to be at home on my laptop.
It's a difference between guys say, oh, I have an abundance of women, and then you won't care about, you know, the women. But I think it's more accurate too. That's okay, but if you have an abundance in your life, like business, fitness, financially, whatever, friends, then if some girl blows you off, and of course you have to know about game, but if she blows you off, like, whatever reason, then you're not going to be like, oh,
yeah.
God,
I've been out with millionaire friends of mine, and they obviously deal with rejection pretty well, because some 22-year-old girl in a bar going, no, this dude's worth like 4 mil or something. He's like, okay, good luck in life. Yeah, anyway.
Well, that, but I got another question for you now, because this is a huge thing. Because I'm, well, not huge, but it's a huge problem in this industry. What is your best way to help guys get over approach anxiety?
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Methods or...
Okay, I'm going to break it up into two things. The first is obviously practical. You can't, and this is what bothers me a bit about a lot of marketing, because it says you can get over that without actually doing it and going through countless rejections. Yep. You just can't. You can't get good at playing tennis from, reading a book or playing Wii. It's a perfect example, yeah. So on some level, you have to just get out and not only approach, you have to go through rejections, because when you're first going to approach, you're going to be so concerned that you're not doing it right and that it's not going to work. You're going to be more concerned with that. And again, you're going to be bringing that sort of shitty energy. So you need to actually reach a place where you're completely okay with rejection. And that's why most guys kind of fuck up their approaching, because they're trying to do it right. They're trying to not get rejected. And they're trying to keep their ego intact. And it's no way to get over it. You might be able to learn to approach to some degree by going out and chatting with very safe interactions. The girl next to you at the bar, hey, what are you drinking? Something like that. But ultimately, you're not going to be completely free of concern and approach anxiety until you have experienced a lot of rejection and you completely come to terms with it. So you need to get out. You need to get rejected. You need to go through all that and realize that it's not that bad. You need to build up your own self-esteem and your confidence that's not at the mercy of a girl liking you or not. So that's one level. You can't, you have to do it. On the second level, I think you need, again, to deal with that inner stuff. I'm a big meditator. Anyone that's watching my channel knows that. I find that really helpful for dealing daily with just the stresses of life. I'm a big visualizer as well. So I think you can deal with a lot of the anxiety, not just with approaching, but in life, by putting things into place. And also, like we were saying before, just reaching a place in life where, look, if you've got nothing going on and you see a girl that you want to talk to, or some beautiful girl, that girl for you is going to be the be all and end all. She's going to be everything, because you're coming from nothing. Whereas, I guess guys like us, we've done it so much, and we're also coming from places we work for ourselves. We, look, it's fucking Wednesday, it's a sunny Wednesday in Melbourne, and we're hanging out on a rooftop, We still have a lot of stuff to sort out in our lives. He's a baby, I'm 36. But we wouldn't have as much approach anxiety, because I don't really care. I quite enjoy my life. Exactly, I really like myself. I think I'm a great person. I offer a lot of value to people. So I don't really have that much anxiety about talking to someone, because frankly, if they like me, great. But if they don't, I don't care. I honestly, a lot of the time, feel that it's probably going to be more them getting something out of me than me getting something out of them. So I've heard the analogy before of walking up to someone and offering them $100 and them just going, no thanks. And it's somewhat similar there, So if you're approaching people asking for $100, you're going to have anxiety. But if you're approaching people going, hey, you want $100? And they're just like, no thanks, you're just going to go, that's a bit silly. So yeah, you got two answers there. The practicalities of you just have to do it. And also dealing with the mindset behind it. If you have intense anxiety, well, it's something in here. You're seeing other people's opinion as being way more important than it actually is, So I often ask a lot of my clients when I start, out of a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you value other people's opinion of you? And if it's ever over like a 6, it's a concern. We need to deal with that. So
roasted.
Pause. All right, we just took a break. SD card change, water, lip balm. I left my lip balm. All right, my last question to Liam is, so since we've spent a lot of time together, and I kind of helped Liam get started, we teach and do very similar things. The way that we go about approaching and interacting with women is very, very similar. But on some kind of key areas, we differ. We don't have opposing, but we go about things in a slightly different way. So what's your advice to people who are sitting at home, watching like YouTube videos, maybe even watching this and reading books, thinking, what's the perfect technique? Like, how do I see so many opposing things. What is the right way? Yeah, that would be it. Like, what would you say to a guy who said to you, what's the right way to approach a girl?
Okay, well, first of all, you need to start thinking long term instead of short term. So if you're thinking what's the right way to approach the girl, you should be thinking what's the right way to succeed in this thing as a whole. So succeed with women, succeed with the relation. If you want to date multiple girls, first of all, you got to have a clear goal. So you got to know what exactly you want. So if you want to date one girl exclusively, or you want to have a string of one-night stands, or you want to date multiple women, or maybe date, have one main girlfriend, and don't cheat on her, but have other girls as well. I mean, it's not really. But if you're just starting, you might not have that much clarity. So instead of giving you what to say and what to do, I'm going to give you what I did. So I'm going to teach you exactly how I got good. So I started off. First off, you need to have the right information. So you've got to have the right technique and what you say, conversational skills. That shit does matter. Let's not pretend it doesn't for a fucking second. You can't just walk up and be like, look at my vibe, and then the girl's not going to be, oh my god. Like, it's got to be a bit of what you say. So if you go onto my channel, there's a free day game guide. So I'm always going to recommend. I'm always going to recommend. Doing Daygame first, because Daygame, in Nightgame you might go out with your mates, you might drink alcohol. Daygame, I want you to like sacrifice your ego and your soul to approaching girls in the day and just having it go fucking shit. Like, that's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like your heart is being ripped out of your chest. Like, okay, that's really bad, but it's not that bad.
That's how you grow. That's your shit coming up.
So in terms of, so you need to get the right advice. So go to my channel, go to Chris's channel. Just watch that stuff. Other people I'd recommend would be Alex Social. He's also someone that taught me quite a while ago. There's not really many other people I would fucking recommend check out on the internet, but it's pretty sparse, to be honest. Anyway, regardless.
Sorry if you're watching.
Yes, we fucking so many people in this video. Oh my
Alex
god.
would watch this and be happy.
Yeah,
No one else will be happy.
You're welcome. So anyway, get a wing for the day. It's all great to think like, I'm a champion and I'm going to go out and like push myself really hard by myself, because I see guys do that, but the problem is you're not aware of what you're doing, so you can't get any feedback. So get a wing who's not necessarily good at game, but he's a positive guy. He's like happy, he's always good to approach. He'll always come back and be like, damn, that sucked, but it was so good that I did that. And you'd be like, yeah, that's awesome.
Just on that note as well, quickly, when I was starting as well, one thing I really focused on is going out with positive guys. So there's a big thing in the self-help industry about having to be around someone who's better than you. And I think that's good, it's helpful, but I would suggest you be out with someone more positive and someone that you enjoy being around. Whether they're shit or not. I'd go out with a guy who's shit with women, but he's a very positive, happy guy, than a guy who's a downer, but he's great with girls.
Yeah, you don't want some jaded dude, because then it'll have to rub off on you. And if the danger of going out with someone who's better than you, but they're annoyed at life, is you're going to take that on and you're going to start to feel like, you're going to start to feel like you're good with women anyway, even though you're not getting results. So then you're fucked. That guy can get results. Anyway, so back with the one technique. Look, me and Chris differ on this a lot, but I would say with Daygame, because if you're going to go for the really beautiful women in the world, from my experience, and guys that, like for example Alex and Chris as well, but when you're approaching those really beautiful women...
You're going to say direct, right?
I'm going to say don't do it, yeah.
It's one area we differ.
We totally differ. Yeah, so for example, whenever because Chris has dated models in the past, I've dated models in the past, I'm dating a model right now actually, and I met her at night, so it's different from day. But the thing is, models, they're aware that they're very beautiful people. So they've got huge followers on Instagram, their bosses say they're beautiful, their mums say they're beautiful, their brothers' friends want to fuck them.
Go to any really attractive girl's Instagram.
I've had instances.
Dudes just like,
Yeah.
you're so pretty.
The last girl that I dated, I was at her holiday house, and one of her friends, who's probably just as fucking hot as she is, got a phone call from some random dude. He's like, hi, I tracked you down on Facebook and I thought you were really pretty, and then she just hung up on him. Like it was kind of like harsh, but like that's no value at all. Like it's no value. But I would say your opener, you want to go a bit incidental. So you want to talk about something about her, something about the weather, or not the weather, but like something about her.
Nice day.
Yeah, nice day, hey? But it's more about your vibe. But what I'm saying is, whatever you do, don't. If she's like stunning and she's dressed to the tens, then go, hi, excuse me, can I tell you something really quick? I thought you looked really cute, really pretty. If you say that shit, chances are, if you're in Melbourne, I've already fucking said it to her. Because I used to say that for like 2 years straight.
Every dude.
Let me give you a really quick fucking story, which will prove this point like perfectly. So when I very first started Game, I approached this girl in 3 months, and she was a model as well. And it's very, very gorgeous, like stunning. And I approached her and I said, hi, sorry, I know this is random, but you looked really cute, had to say hi. Blah, 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 goes well, we go on a date, we make out, goes fantastically, and then I never hear from her again. And even on the date, she's going, oh, this is great, like I'd love to see you again. I'm the king of Game, it's fantastic, people should pay me for this shit, even though I was like, crap. Anyway, so I never hear from him again. And I talked to Chris, this was like 2 weeks after. So it was like 8 months in total, like 2 weeks after I did with Chris, the Daygame. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh man, it just happens sometimes. Like, hit her up with this, but you can't control it. So I was like, okay. Run into her in the street about like a year later or 8 months later or something. And she goes, and I see her, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, hey, like kind of like, hey. She goes, and her vibe has completely changed. She's become jaded as fuck. And she goes, oh, you again. I'm like, again? She's like, let me ask you something. Like, is there a pickup gym in Melbourne?
Gym.
And I'm like, what's a gym? I don't pick up that. So what happened was, she said, look, a week after you approached me, 4 guys came up to me and said the exact same thing. I was like, fuck. Like, she was stunning. So it's interesting because when I date other girls as well, I always go up, I start with like, excuse me, European gym. If they're like shopping for clothes, I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna get this one lens for her as a joke. It's like really romantic, really Hollywood, because A, no guy has the balls to pull that shit off, and B, no guy can do that shit, and C, everyone else is doing the direct. And I've dated girls in the past, and I guarantee all of them, the really beautiful ones, they've all said to me, this guy came up to me in the street and said I was really cute, and I was like, if that was me, I would have been fucked. Like if I said that to you, this would be a whole fucking mess. Like so, it's.
And also, a lot of those guys are using a canned, memorized line. Like, yeah, I mean, a girl that you met a few times that I used to date that would come up to Melbourne. She'd only come to Melbourne for one day, and she would say that she would get literally the exact same line 5, 6, 7 times a day. She was, quite tall, quite attractive, so she'd get that attention. Now, the funny thing about that is I met her in a supermarket by saying the same thing essentially, but if you're going a memorized line, just well, one, you're probably coming from a really shitty place, like it's all your mindset, but also it comes out as just empty, whereas for me it was like, excuse me, like it was more contextualized, like I know you're doing your shopping and this or whatever, I don't know what I said. So I think if you are going to go direct, don't memorize a line, don't read something online and just say it empty like the last 10, 20 guys have. Look at a girl and think, wow, she's really cute. Is there something that I can, do you know what I mean? Put it in your own fucking words, don't just be like a robot and say what you read. And don't go in with a shitty mindset of like this is what kills most guys. They go in going, you're pretty so you're better than me. Like you're pretty so you're a goddess, and that is repulsive to women. So my mentality is more like, hey, you're adorable, who are you? We're on the same plane, and she knows that as well, because she's reading your vibe. So if you're like, excuse me, sorry, like those guys on Instagram, it's just fucking, you're just adorable. I actually saw one yesterday that said, what did it say? You're so pretty, I would drink your period blood. I'll send it to you later. It was like screenshotted. It was fucking horrific.
Is that just like the Tinder things?
No, it was on Facebook, so it was a private message. A girl got it.
Oh, every girl loves that.
So I think the girl screenshotted it and sort of public shamed him, which I don't think was the best thing to do, but hilarious for the rest of us. So.
Well, we'll wrap that up. But in terms of like the best tactic, I would say you have to create. Because it's much easier.
I think we're both observational, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And number one thing is like, I'm one of the most direct people in Melbourne. However, if there's something I can comment on, like him, like, hey, you're Eastern European, yeah? Like something like that, I think that's always a better option. You don't put unnecessary stress on something when it doesn't have to. If a girl's sitting there reading, just like, excuse me, hey, I'm just curious what you're reading. Not.
Keep going.
Yeah. Oh, Liam's run off on his own question. Yeah, so I mean, that's a classic case of how we are slightly different, but we get the same results. So if you're trying to do it right, if you're trying to do it correct, it's more that your self-esteem's probably a bit shit, and you probably need to work on that, because ultimately when you fix that, anything's gonna work. Not anything, and it's never gonna work all the time, but just have some fucking emotion. Don't run after every girl and like, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're so pretty. And remember, women are wired to date up in the social hierarchy. So if you're below her and you're like, you're so pretty, you've just reinforced the fact how much further up she is than you, and she's not gonna date you.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
All right, so and I've got a question for you though.
Sweet.
My last question for you. Let me think about how to word this. So what is the benefits or the pros and the cons compared to not necessarily learning, but like for guys who might have some experience, the pros and the cons between night game and day game?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
So usually when I've finished my workshop with guys, it's kind of 50-50. Like half of them will be like, fuck night, I'm never going to a bar again, I love day, and they'll just keep meeting girls through the day. The other half will be like, fuck day, that's weird, I'm just gonna go to bars and keep doing that. So I don't think one's better than the other. I think different personalities deal with different things better. I personally prefer night just because I can just be a dick. I can have a few drinks and let loose and be fun.
yourself.
Just be yourself. Yeah, just like poke someone like, I want to take you home or whatever. Just you can be an idiot, and most of the time you're going to get giggles because it's all about just kind of enjoying yourself a bit more. But yet, so I think it was like a year or 2 years ago, like every girl that I dated, I'd met through the day. So here I am preferring night, but every girl that I dated was from the day. So I think it just depends on your personality. I like night because it's expected that you approach. Now, a lot of people think that's a bad thing. They're like, I don't want to approach at night because the girl's expecting that. I like that. I think that's a good thing, because then when you approach a girl through the day, her initial reaction is like, what does this guy want? Who is he? Whereas at night, when you're like, hey guys, what's up? How are you? And start talking, they know what's going on. So immediately you're on the same wavelength. So I think night is better for that. But I also think day definitely has its ups, because some girls don't go out. A lot of girls don't go out, but everyone does their shopping. Everyone gets trams and, whatever. Everyone's walking up the street on a Sunday going to the park.
Yeah. I think that with day and night, they both, in terms of difficulty, they each have their own process of actually getting into the set and talking to the girls. So for example, in nighttime, the girls are going to be much more, receptive. So you're going to go up and they're going to be like, oh, hey, like, hey, you, and it's like up to you to like basically maintain that level of, in interest. If you're dressed well and you're just like, if you're like, hey, sorry, what's up? Then it just like,
Girls will be more brutal at night.
oh god, and they'll laugh about it too. They'll be like, what a fucking, I'm not even kidding. And I've seen the girls I've dated, like their friends are like, did you see that fucking loser? And it's just like, oh, they don't really mean that, but it's like they're trying to make themselves, they're kind of offended that, anyway, we won't go into that shit. But so it's up to you to like maintain that. But in daytime, when you go and approach, it's up to you to build that up. So in the nighttime, they're more willing and able to talk to you because they're drinking and they're having fun, and it's expected that they get dressed up to get approached essentially and compete with other women. But in the daytime, they're like, what the fuck does this dude want? They're like, what the hell? But it's up to you to be like, no, I'm sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to blah, 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 and start talking. And you've got to build something out of nothing. So it's not expected. So but I think personally day, I get, well, not really actually, but most of the time it's easier to get more solid numbers from the day, because if you do it the right way, no one's really doing it. Unless you live in fucking Melbourne and everybody's fucking doing it.
But everyone's doing it badly.
Exactly, yeah.
Most people.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I forgot. Yeah, so I mean, you've got to remember as well that at night you're dealing with personas just as much as you're dealing with real people. So through the day, she's just getting on her day, she's walking back to work. At night, she's around her friends, she's had a few drinks, she's stimulated from the music and from whatever else, music, lights, potentially drugs, whatever. So personas come out much more. You'll get the sweetest, loveliest girl in a supermarket or wander around, but then at night, when they're around their friends and they want to feel, particularly, this is going to sound a bit weird, but maybe a bit dodgy, whatever, but if you get, say, like 2 significantly attractive girls and one that's maybe less attractive than her friends, I find that she's going to be the one with the biggest persona in that situation because she wants to prove to her friends how desirable she is as well.
It's 100% true.
Yeah, I've been blown out by more sort of lesser attractive girls than I have more attractive girls, and probably because of that. Even if you are interested in her, most of the time she's going to like, you're trying to get through me to my friends. You need to realize where you're at, and you need to go out and for the most part, like, hi, how are you? How's your night going? Realistically, that's where most guys need to start. Don't try any crazy shit. Don't try fucking grabbing girls. You need to start like, hello, how are you? How are you? How's your night? That's where you need to start. It sounds lame, but that's where you need to start.
Yeah. You need to just be congruent with how you feel. Over like long term, like over 6 months and over the night. Because you might, if you walk in the bar and you're like, what's up? And you're not there, it's like, the girl's like, I don't know if you believe that or not. And you want to be like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you? And like, the girl will probably be nervous too and be like, oh yeah, I'm good, yeah. And then you approach more and approach more. You can walk up and like pick girls up, but don't do that.
You got to remember as well, girls are often, if a girl hasn't had a boyfriend in a long time, hasn't had sex in a long time, whatever, and you approach her and she's like attracted to you and you seem like a pretty cool guy, she's as nervous as you are. She doesn't want to fuck it up just as much as you don't want to fuck it up. I've literally seen, all the time, I see this quite often, guy approach girl, guy nervous, girl nervous, they stand like, hello, how are you? How's your night? Good. How's your night? Yep, good, cool. All right, well, have a good night then. And you see them both walk away going, oh, what just happened? Like they're both heartbroken that it just ended. So
learn game. Don't let that shit happen to you.
On that note, we're going to wrap this shit up. If you like this, we may do more soon. Subscribe to my channel, obviously. I'm cranking out more videos now. I've got a book coming out soon. Follow me on Instagram and blah, blah, Facebook and all that sort of shit. All links will be below. And also go check out the video that we're about to do on Liam's channel. So you can talk about that.
Yeah, so we're going to do a video about ex-girlfriends and whether you should get back with them or not. Why you might be feeling that pull towards getting back. If you have an ex-girlfriend, this is going to be relevant to you, obviously. If you've got a friend who's obsessed with her, it's going to explain a lot. So we're going to talk about ex-girlfriends and basically why you should just harden the fuck up and just go get another girl. Anyway, so we'll put...
I'll put a link to that
below to my channel. Anyway.
Sweet. Peace.
Cool, guys.